Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today I'm taking a look at a camera that I've purchased quite some time ago, and I still use it today. I think it's a lovely camera. I think it represents amazing value for money if you buy it used. And I'm thinking of places like Wex Photographic, MPB if you're in the UK, possibly if you're in Northern America, KEH. I don't know that company, but they seem to have a really good reputation for used gear. And I say used because I think this camera represents better value for money as a used camera rather than buying it new. And what we're looking at is the original Sony ZV E10. And when I say original, they now have a ZV E10 Mark II. It has quite a number of improvements, but I still love the original ZV E10. And buying it used, you're looking at around the £400 mark if you get it from a reputable dealer, and you get a warranty with that as well. So I think this is great value for money for that sort of price. Now it's an E-mount camera, interchangeable lenses, the E-mount system, so there's a very wide range of lenses available for it. That's one of its things that I love about it. It's an APS-C sensor, a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor inside here. It's one of our older sensors, but it still works great. You get some lovely images. I'm going to go through some sample images I've got on the computer here, but I strongly recommend you take a look at them on my Flickr page. You get a much better indication of what the image quality is like off this sensor. Now the new ZV E10 Mark II has the 26 megapixel sensor, so it's 2 megapixels difference basically. For photographs you're not going to see any difference. Or you know, you're going to have to pixel peep really closely to see a difference between the images taken on the ZV E10 compared to the ZV E10 Mark II. The grip is smaller on this camera. Actually, that for certain lenses is actually a bonus, purely because it makes the camera more compact. It takes the older FW50 battery, so you will need a couple of spare batteries, or at least one spare battery with you if you're out taking photographs. But again, shove a spare battery in your pocket. It's not a big deal. You can charge a battery via USB-C in the camera, and you can power the camera via USB-C. And I do that a great deal when I'm using it here in the studio. Quite often, I'd use this as my, what I call the close-up camera. The camera that's getting these product shots here would quite often be the ZV E10 that gets those shots because it can throw the background out of focus. It's really nice for that. The APS-C sensor won't do as good a job as a full frame sensor, but it does a really good job, depending on the lenses you're using, obviously. Now, if you're doing pieces to camera like I'm doing here, the close-up camera is my Sony A7 IV. Now that's got a full frame f1.8 lens fitted to it, but if I use my FX30 as a close-up shot, but I put a say an f1.4 lens on, that'll get a very similar sort of look to what I'm getting with my Sony A7 IV, which is full frame. So you can get that sort of creamy bokeh look with the APS-C sensor. It's very compact, very lightweight, no viewfinder, but that's the same as the ZV E10 Mark II. What I've done to counteract the fact that there's no viewfinder, you see you've got to rely on the screen on the back, but I've actually, let's take the lens cap off, I've reassigned this bottom button, this trash can button at the bottom here. I've reassigned that, so when I push that in, it brings up the brightness control of the camera. I can set that now to sunny weather or ordinary weather. So I set that to sunny now. You can see the screen goes brighter. When you're on sunny, that's dull, and then it goes brighter. So when I'm out in sunny conditions, I just put that to sunny weather, and it works pretty decently. It is touch to focus, although the screen isn't touch screen per se as far as addressing the menus, but it is touch to focus on this one, and I think that's absolutely fine. 3-inch articulating screen, which is, you know, pretty normal for modern day cameras, but again, great for vlogging. Stick a wide angle lens on. I've actually got the 10-20 lens fitted on it at the moment. I like this lens a lot because it is a power zoom lens. Now, I'm not really into power zoom lenses per se, but the fact that this camera has a rocker switch on the top, the power zoom feature works really well because I can use this single-handedly like you would do with a compact camera, because the ZV E10 as well as the ZV E10 Mark II has no in-body image stabilization. You're reliant on the stabilization in the lens. This lens, the 10 to 20, has no in-lens image stabilization. So all I do, I compensate for that by setting a faster shutter speed. So I'm not going to worry about blurred images. But with the 16 to 50 kit lens, that one has got optical steady shot in the lens, OSS as Sony call it. So you don't need to worry too much about that, which is handy because the maximum aperture on this lens is f3.5. So you are going to be more reliant on the optical steady shot in the lens because of the slower shutter speed of this lens. But these two lenses make a great combination and a great compact combination. A very small camera bag, or even not a camera bag, any sort of bag, you can take these two in, and you've got right from 10mm through to 50mm, and in full frame terms that's about 15 through to about 75. So you've got short telephoto right to ultra wide, just with two very compact lenses. And the price point for this whole kit is probably around the £1,000 mark. So you've got a really nice kit, vlogging kit with the right lens on, with this 10 to 20 lens on. You can vlog with this quite happily because, as I say, it is ultra wide at 10mm. I can vlog on that quite nicely. Let me just do a clip you can see there. It shoots 4K video. It's only 8-bit 4K video, isn't 10-bit, but it's 4K video, and it has got electronic image stabilization. That does crop it in a bit tighter, but you have got that feature in the camera, and it has got a headphone jack as well as a microphone jack, and it has got, even though this is the older model, it has got the red record frame around the monitor as well as a red tally light. You can see there's a red record frame around the actual screen, and it's got the red tally light, if my thumb isn't obscuring it, the red tally light on the actual camera. And that's great if you're working solo, like with me. I work on my own, I've got no camera people behind the camera, so it's essential that I can see that it is actually recording. And I can see my FX30 is recording, it's got a red tally light. My Panasonic S9 has only the red frame around the screen, but I can see that it is recording. But my A7 IV has none of that, although I'm outputting now to my iPad via USB-C, and I can see the red record frame around my iPad. So, I mean, that is brilliant. It's also got a really big screen, as it's the bigger model. So, yeah, this is an amazing value for money camera. Even though it is only 8-bit video as opposed to 10-bit, that is fine for the vast majority of applications you're going to be putting it to. Fine for YouTube, it edits well, and the file sizes are smaller anyway. So the only advantage 10-bit has, or the main advantage 10-bit has, is if you're doing green screen, you've got much more color depth there to work with keying out the green screen. Or if you're doing fancy color grading or S-Log, done any log video. I tend not to film in log, so I don't need to worry about that. But yeah, nice camera, nice wide angle with this particular lens, has all the audio features. And the other thing that I do love about this old camera, even though it's an old camera, Sony have put the multi-interface shoe on the camera. So on the top here, there's the hot shoe, but it's actually a multi-interface shoe. So you can actually attach all of the Sony microphones. Well, most of the Sony microphones will work with this particular camera and the XLR adapter. So I think that's marvelous that a camera at this price, particularly if you buy it used, has those particular features. But you can plug in a microphone without having to use cables. You don't have to plug the cable into the 3.5mm jack. The audio is fed straight into the camera via the multi-interface shoe. Yeah, handling is good. Handling is, you know, not as good as the ZV E10 Mark II, but it's still good. It's good enough. With bigger lenses, my knuckles and my fingers will rub up against the lens. But with these smaller lenses, absolutely fine. And I think this camera, because of its size and weight, is very ideal to use with smaller lenses. Another range of lenses that I highly recommend is the Sigma 18 to 50, DCDN 18 to 50. It's a constant f2.8 aperture. That's what I'm using on my FX30 there. That's used on a constant basis. It's always in use, that lens. It's an APS-C lens, very cost effective. It's not expensive. So yeah, not much else to say really about the original ZV E10. As I said, it's got a headphone jack, mic jack, USB-C ports on the side, micro HDMI, all the usual sort of stuff. But it's unusual to find a camera at this price point that has both the mic and the headphone jack. It's got both. So that is marvellous. I really do like that. Image quality, as I say, if you are taking photographs, the image quality is fine with a 24 megapixel sensor, but you be the judge. I'm a firm believer of that. Rather than take my word for it, take a look at the sample images that are up on Flickr. I'll leave a link in the description. If you look at any of these images, they're nice and sharp. The detail's really good. Look how sharp that is. I don't know what lens that was. Oh, that's for 16 to 70. So that's the old Sony Zeiss 16 to 70 lenses was taken on with constant f4 lens. Not the sharpest of lenses out there, but it's a pretty decent lens as a go-to travel lens. And you see they're lovely and sharp. They really, really are. And it's as I say, the dynamic range with this camera is absolutely fine. The sensor can handle dynamic range quite, quite fine. I know people get really hung up about dynamic range, but it's pretty decent. And looking inside here, image quality is really, really nice. That's on at 2000 ISO, and it's still clean. It's still very clean, very usable. You can put these images into a denoising software, or you can use Lightroom. Lightroom does an excellent job of denoising higher ISO images. Yeah, I think it's a great camera, one that is so easy to shove in your pocket. Well, you can't shove it in your pocket. I don't know why I say that, but you can shove it in a small bag and take it out with you anywhere really, because it is so compact, particularly with these two lenses. The bigger lenses, yeah, not so much so, but these two lenses, absolutely fine. And with the fact that it's only got the screen and no viewfinder, just turn up the brightness of the screen. That's how I pre-assigned the function button to do that with. So there we go. That's a quick look at the original Sony ZV E10. It came out in June, July of 2021. So that's what, 4 years old, 4.5 years old now. And it still stands up. It still is, if you can get it at the right price, I mean, it's a great buy. Great B camera if you want to use it for B-roll, or even as a third camera if you're out on a shoot and you want to use it. There's no video record limit on here, so that's fantastic. I haven't managed to get it to overheat. I'm sure under certain conditions, because of the style of a camera, it might overheat. I've not managed to get it to overheat, and I just power it via USB-C. So I plug it into a USB-C power block, and then I can run it to do like this sort of content all the time. That's why I do use it as a close-up camera, and it works absolutely fine. I've used it as a wide camera if I've got my FX30 doing something else, and it works great. And the image quality fits in with other Sony cameras without a problem. So yeah, great little camera, great photographs, great versatility with microphones, an all-round decent camera, I think, at a fantastic price. So there we go. That's my thoughts on the original ZV E10 here in, it's October 2025. Thanks very much. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button if you like the content of this video. Would really, really appreciate that. And remember to share it if you think other people might find this video useful. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.